fellow Toastmasters. 3 prisoners, Alice, Bob, and Carlos, are set to be executed. The governor decides to pardon one of these prisoners at random. He tells the warden which prisoner is pardoned and instructs him not to tell any of the other prisoners who this is. Alice can't take the pressure. She goes to the warden and says, please, please, you have to tell me, give me some information about who's going to be executed. So he breaks down and he agrees. He says, well, I will tell you from the other 2 prisoners, one of them that will be executed. So he tells her Bob. Bob's going to get the axe. She then goes back to Carlos and feels a bit relieved and tells him Bob's going to be executed, and she feels good, feeling that she has a 50% chance of being pardoned. Carlos silently smiles, knowing that he has a 2/3 chance of being pardoned. Now this may not make sense to you. That's okay, I'll retell it in a different format, and hopefully it might gel a little bit more. So this can also be known as the Monty Hall problem, which is loosely based off of Let's Make a Deal. So you've probably heard this before. There's 3 doors. There's a prize behind one of the doors. You are then, and behind the other 2 doors are goats. I don't know why they're goats, but you don't want them. You are asked to select one of the doors. Monty Hall, then in this variation, opens one of the remaining 2 doors, revealing a goat. He then proposes to you the option to switch, to either stick with the door that you chose originally or to choose the other remaining door. So the question is what do you do? And does it matter? Some would say, clearly it doesn't matter, 1/3 chance for every single door, there's no point in switching. Well, this problem was first proposed by Marilyn Vos Savant in her column Ask Marilyn in Parade magazine in 1990. Her reply was you should always switch. This resulted in a lot of conversation, a lot of feedback from some fairly well-educated people debating whether or not this was true or not. You run the models, you look at the results, it's been proven, you should always switch. Some of you, this might seem intuitive, some of this might seem very, very counterintuitive, it may not make sense at all. But if you switch, you have a 2/3 chance of getting the right answer every single time. So these are counterintuitive, but statistics and math are important in understanding what is the proper decision to make. Another common fallacy known as the Monte Carlo fallacy, no relation to Monty Hall, is also called the gambler's fallacy. And this is the belief that a previous sequence of events will predict future events. So, and it actually is derived from an incident, or I call it an incident, in the Monte Carlo casino in 1913, in which a roulette wheel, the ball dropped 26 times in a row into black. Now, if you're not familiar with roulette, this may or may not seem unique or improbable to you, but it's a pretty rare sequence. And a lot of people lost a lot of money because they were under the impression that probably after 5, maybe 10, maybe 15, the probability of red was greater. It's an isolated event, though, and each time the roulette wheel spins, it has the exact same probability of hitting black or red. In this case, 47%. The fallacy is the belief that because of the past, it will predict the future. And honestly, the wheel, the ball, or a coin has no memory. It has no idea that it's been black 25 times prior, 26 times prior. But intuitively, we feel differently. We want to approach it and think about it differently. We don't want to believe that the math is right. You can flip a coin, you'll flip it 100 times, get heads 100 times in a row. It has no bearing on whether or not you will get heads on the 101st flip. That's the Monte Carlo fallacy. It's closely related to the hot hand fallacy, which is the belief that previous success predicts future success. And this goes beyond gambling and goes into sports. The belief that in basketball you go to the hot hand. The hot hand is the person who has made shots and they will continue to make shots. They ran the math on this and did a study. It doesn't exist, it's a fallacy. It's a run, just like any other run in quarters or in roulette balls. But we want to believe it's true, and it's hard to shake these cognitive biases, even when we know that the math is there. You'll be sitting in front of the roulette wheel and you'll feel it's got to hit red. or you'll be sitting in front of some type of game of chance, and regardless of the math that you know, the cognitive bias is so strong that you feel that you are more intelligent than the statistics. So I bring these examples to your attention just to challenge, to have you think through your own particular biases and impressions, and hopefully encourage you to look into studying these particular fields of statistics, game theory, and emotional behaviors. There's some great books out there, and if our goal is to make better decisions in life, we have to be able to challenge our own impressions and biases and cognitive preconceptions. So my hope, again, is that you will look into a few of these resources. There's some great suggestions that I have afterwards, and start to challenge your own impressions. And hopefully, if nothing else, you'll avoid the casino one more time. Thank you.